Hello everyone, welcome. This is Nick from Top-Notch Sports, and today we got a lot to discuss. Let's hop right into this thing.
180. 180, set.
Hello everyone, welcome. This is Nick from Top-Notch Sports. Today we're over the 2023 Carolina Panthers salary review and offseason moves for 2023. In 2022, under head coach Matt Rule and interim coach Steve Wilks, the Carolina Panthers finished a record of 7-10, finishing second in the NFC South, falling only behind the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Carolina Panthers organization decided to part ways with interim coach Steve Wilks, who went 6-6 during his time as head coach, and now they have went out and signed coach Frank Reich, who I honestly think is a really good coach. He went 40-33-1 in his time in Indianapolis as head coach. He went on to win the Super Bowl with the Philadelphia Eagles as their offensive coordinator. And I personally feel like his offense is really good, and his time in Indianapolis was really shot down by just a disgusting, non-working organization that just would not allow him to use the quarterback that he wanted. And Carolina will most likely allow him to choose a quarterback of his liking and develop the quarterback. When you think about his time in Indianapolis, he had a variety of quarterbacks over there, whether it was Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Then he even went to Sam Ehlinger, for crying out loud. With all that being stated, this man truly did not have a dang chance with all these veteran quarterbacks. And even after he went out and got his guy in Carson Wentz, the Colts only gave him one season with him before they made him release Carson Wentz. And with all that being talked about, I feel like this is a really good hire for the Carolina Panthers. I know some of you think they should have held on to Steve Wilks, and I understand the argument. You look at what happened with the Las Vegas Raiders just a season ago with interim coach Rich Bisaccia, who finished the season strong, helped the Raiders make the playoffs, and then they got rid of him and brought in Josh McDaniels. And now look, the team is up in flames. So sometimes it probably is a good thing to keep the interim head coach, let them have a season, let them prove themselves. But a coach like Frank Reich, in my opinion, is a really good hire. It can help this team easily make the playoffs in the NFC South. Now, before we make this video, and we're going to hop right into this, this is a mock offseason, mock free agency, mock draft, and everything. We're going to hop into it. We did not know Frank Reich was the head coach. We just figured that out just a day or so ago. So the moves we made is before we knew Frank Reich was going to be the head coach. So I'll talk about some other scenarios that can possibly happen, but we still feel like this plan could happen for sure. So let's hop right into this thing. All right, this slide right here shows you your 2023 expected starters that are currently under contract. The guys that are not listed here need to be either re-signed or they're going to be let go in free agency. So if you don't see somebody, they'll be on the next slide. With that all being mentioned, you look at the guys in green, you look at the guys in red, okay? And you look in the top left corner of the screen. You guys currently have $1.9 million in cap space. The guys in green, if you cut them, you save money. The guys in red, if you cut them, you lose money. Quick example, if you cut Shaq Thompson, you save $13.1 million. If you cut Ike McQuanu, you lose $16.4 million. Now, what does that mean? You're never going to cut someone in red. It just doesn't make sense. You lose cap space. It would not make, even if they played absolutely horrible, it's highly, highly unlikely you cut someone in red. The guys in green, on the other hand, these are guys that are definitely possible. And you look at someone like Shaq Thompson, who has a really high cap hit. I definitely see him probably being restructured. We don't do restructures on this channel. We'll show you what we'll do in a few slides, but you know, we either cut them or we just save them for the contract that they are, because it's really hard to predict a restructure. I think it might happen, but it's hard to see what price you would go for and how much they would convert to a signing bonus. We just don't know those things. Frankie Luvu is another guy, $5.5 million. Those are the two biggest guys that can cut and save a good amount of money. But Frankie Luvu played really well this season again, too. So these are two guys I definitely don't see Carolina cutting. I could see them maybe restructuring Shaq Thompson. I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please let me know what you think. Overall, you know, I don't think they're going to cut either of those guys. And you look at the rest of the team, really, really low cap hits that you can save. So it's just really not worth cutting many players at all, especially you only have $1.9 million. You're not going to be able to make much moves. If you cut Shaq Thompson and save 13 plus that one, you'll be up to $15 million. You can sign two pretty good players for that price, but is it worth even cutting Shaq Thompson for the price of two, okay players than just keeping Shaq Thompson and letting him play as good as he's been for you guys for the last few seasons? Let's go to the next slide now, our notable losses. Here are our notable losses. And these are the guys that currently need to be re-signed or extended by the Carolina Panthers. If not, they go to free agency. So again, real fast before we even go into this, the percent of snaps played. This number is calculated by the percent of snaps they played when they were on the active roster for the game day. If they were on the IR, if they were injured and not on the active roster during the game, the percent of snaps played will not be affected by that. So again, if one of these players have a really high percent of snaps played and they might have been on the IR for more than half the season, again, it doesn't get counted against them. It only gets counted against them if they don't play and they're active for the game day lineup. Here we go. Let's get into this. First things first, center Bradley Bozeman, expected contract, a 3-year, $36 million deal. He plays 62% of the snaps. Next guy, quarterback Sam Darnold, expected contract, a 2-year, $10.2 million deal. He played 100% of the snaps. Running back Dante Foreman, he has expected contract, a 1-year, $3 million deal. He plays 37% of the snaps. Last but not least, defensive end Matthew Ioannidis. His expected contract is a 1-year, $6 million deal, and he plays 71% of the snaps. Now, a good rule of thumb typically is with a team that has good salary cap, guys that play a high percent of snaps and play well during those high percent of snaps are guys that the team will most likely try to bring back. So on the next slide, we're going to show you our potential targets. Here are our potential targets. Now, you guys have $1.9 million in estimated cap space. We don't have you guys cutting nobody. Again, it's not worth cutting those top-tier players in order to bring in a guy or two. With that also being mentioned, if you only have $1.9 million, you can't bring back nobody because they're all worth more than $1.9 million. Now, again, could I see them going back and bringing in maybe Dante Foreman? Yes. Could they go back and bring in some other guys that are really low? Yes. The thing is that we're not going to do that because that wouldn't be fair to the other teams that we didn't do that for. Again, it's going to be restructures, and maybe they do make some cuts. Maybe they do go ahead and cut Shaq Thompson. I just don't see it happening. So if that happens, we're wrong. But we're most likely going to see some restructures, which is going to free up some money for you to resign some players and maybe even sign a few, cheap options in free agency. But again, we're not going to go out and predict that. What we are going to predict is you guys going through the draft. Now, look, here's what we got. In the mock draft right now, we got you doing a mock trade. Okay, we got you guys trading away the 9th overall pick, the 2023 second-round pick, and a 2023 fourth-round pick in order to get the 5th overall pick from the Seattle Seahawks. With all that being stated, we got you guys having a few needs: quarterback, wide receiver, defensive tackle, and linebacker. Well, the 5th overall pick, we got you drafting quarterback C.J. Stroud. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't told anybody my scouting report yet. I truly believe, after just watching pure film, he is the best quarterback in this draft class. He is the most accurate. He has a great arm. He can move when he has to move. I feel like he throws the best ball, to be honest with you. I truly feel like if you guys can get him at 5 to pair it with Frank Reich, this could be an awesome, awesome setup for years to come. In the second round, we got you guys drafting wide receiver Josh Downs. In the third round, we got you guys drafting defensive tackle Keon White. So you look up here now at your team needs: quarterback, wide receiver, defensive tackle, linebacker. Now, again, you guys do have 4th round, 5th round, 6th round picks. We're not going to project all those. What we're going to tell you is you fill in the quarterback need by drafting C.J. Stroud. You fill in your wide receiver need by drafting Josh Downs, and you fill in your defensive tackle need by drafting Keon White. You might look at getting a linebacker later on in the draft for sure to fill in another need that you guys have on this roster. Now, with all that being mentioned, there's one other possibility I want to mention. We got this guy going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in this series this year. Quarterback Derek Carr. Frank Reich, in his time in Indianapolis, has offered 2 first-round picks for Derek Carr 2 to 3 years in a row. He loves Derek Carr. And I've been saying for years, being a Raiders fan, Derek Carr would be a perfect fit in Frank Reich's offense. I'm not just trying to throw, Derek Carr to you Carolina fans. I don't know if you guys like him or hate him. But what I'll tell you is this. For years from an outsider looking at, the Indianapolis Colts and watching Frank Reich, this is the perfect offensive system for quarterback Derek Carr. A real accurate passer that can move when he has to and extend plays with his legs. Frank Reich would be the perfect choice. If I'm Carr, this is where I want to go to be with Frank Reich. If I'm Frank Reich, I'm making a phone call and trying to bring him in. If it's 3rd rounder, so be it. Give it away. If it's a 2nd rounder, maybe you still end up doing it. And then you can still trade down or do whatever the heck you want to do in the first round then at that point at 9. But CJ Stroud, we're rolling with CJ Stroud on this. I think that gives you longevity. I think Carr can play for another 5-6 seasons too, but I think CJ Stroud is the most likely situation here. Here is your 2023 expected lineup. Okay, what do we got? Yellow and blue. What does yellow and blue need, Nick? What are you doing with this? Well, there's also green and orange. You see neither of them here. Green means you signed a player. Orange means you re-signed a player. You had no money to do that. That's why you still got $1.9 million in cap space. Guys in yellow, we consider Damian Wilson a placeholder. According to PFF and what we've seen, Damian Wilson's probably somebody that you want to upgrade. But in the light blue, these are your draft picks. We get you drafting CJ Stroud in the first round. We get you drafting Josh Downs in the second round. We get you drafting Keon White in the third round. When you look at this team, this is what we're projecting. This is what I'm going to do my prediction off of. We're going to give you my prediction for the Panthers in 2023 in about 2 seconds. So just give me a second here. When you look at these moves, all right, you replace Sam Darnold with C.J. Stroud. You bring in Josh Downs to pair it with DJ Moore and Terrence Marshall. You have Ian Thomas, and who I really like, Tommy Tremble at tight end. You got Ike Mikwanu protecting C.J. Stroud's blind side. You got Brady Christensen, Pat Eflin, Austin Corbett, Taylor Moton, a pretty solid offensive line. Not great, but solid. Yetur Gross-Matos and Brian Burns coming off the edge. Frankie Louvu, Shaq Thompson, and you still unfortunately have Damian Wilson, but maybe again you get someone to replace him either later in the draft or you go and get even an undrafted free agent to compete for that spot for the future of this team too. You got 2 pretty decent cornerbacks. I love J.C. Horn personally, and then you also got Dante Jackson. You also got C.J. Henderson, Jeremy Chin, and Xavier Woods. With this lineup right here, with a pretty solid offensive line, weapons for C.J. Stroud to throw the ball to, a pretty young, fast, and quick, defense. As long as Frank Reich made some pretty good defensive hires, I feel like this Carolina Panthers team with this roster, with a rookie quarterback, year 1 with Frank Reich, in a pretty depleted NFC South, can go 8-9 next season, finish 2nd or 3rd in the NFC South, and trying to fight for the number 1 seed in the NFC South. I see this team missing the playoffs next season. With that, again, finishing 8-9, finishing 2nd or 3rd in the NFC South, and trying to fight for the 1st seed in this division. I don't know if a rookie quarterback in C.J. Stroud can get this team to the playoffs in year 1, but I think the future of this team is very bright if these are the moves that this team makes. And why might you say, 3rd, 2nd? I don't feel like 1st place is that far off, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like the Buccaneers, if they bring in Derek Carr, which I do have them going to, with the Saints rocking and rolling again with Dennis Allen, and year 3 with the Falcons under Arthur Smith, all these teams are looking to try to improve. And of course, the Carolina Panthers are too. And I feel like this upgrade at head coach is going to help them compete. But the question is, can they punch their ticket to number 1? I feel like it's going to be a very tight race in this division. But I'm going to slot them in officially at number 3 in the division at 8-9, trying to scratch and claw to finish 1st in this division. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback. I feel like this team in about another year, in 2024, is going to be in the playoffs for sure, though, as long as if they bring in Stroud and let him develop under Frank Reich for 2 to 3 seasons. Let me know what you think. See you guys soon. Peace. We are Built Better.